Welcome to Codex History of Video Games. I'm Mike Coletta.
And I'm Tyler Osby.
And today it's another mailbag episode, the 22nd mailbag episode, actually.
Let's go.
So we have a lot to go through today. We might not get through everything. We might skip around because of time, but we're just going to go for it and see what happens. We're going to start with the emails, okay? And the first one is from Martin from Oregon. It's to my fellow PNW peeps, that's Pacific Northwest. Hey guys, Martin from Oregon here. On your last show, you asked if I wanted to write to you, telling you where in Eastern Oregon I lived, to see if you've been there. Since you've both spent some time in Pendleton and around that area, I live in La Grande, which is about 45 minutes east of Pendleton. And if Mike ever does comedy in Pendleton, you should definitely let me know, because I would be so down to go to one. And you can read this on the show if you want to. You probably won't want to, since it's not necessarily for the podcast, but it's totally fine. Well, I read it anyway.
Too late.
I doxed Martin. Did you know
it's
that?
Committed to the internet.
It's committed. I mean, when he said you can read this on the show, Tyler and I just saw content in our eyes. You could just see it. Like, just not dollar signs, just video. That's all it was.
Definitely not dollars.
No. It's so funny to me when people are like, how much do you make on a podcast like that? I'm like, hey man, full disclosure, nothing.
Negative
we lose
dollars.
money. Yeah. Could we? Probably. We wanted to do ads, but I feel we're working on that. We're figuring this out.
We're thinking about it.
Yeah, we're thinking about it.
We're always thinking about it, but we have made $0. In fact, negative dollars.
Yeah, not a sponsor, but could be.
Yeah, zero revenue, only costs.
Yeah.
I've never been to La Grande, I don't think.
I haven't either. I've been to Pendleton, as I said before, and I actually got offered to do a show recently in Pendleton, but I could not take it because it was not enough money to make it worth it by a mile.
That's probably a 4 or 5 hour drive for you, huh?
Longer.
Because it's like probably 45 minutes from Kennewick, probably
5 to 6, if I had to guess, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah, if I remember correctly. I could be messing this up. Maybe I'm messing it up. I want
to Pendleton's like half an hour, 45 minutes from Kennewick. And that's 4 hours from Seattle. Well, I guess maybe from.
I go a different way though. I go down and go across usually. Maybe that's wrong. Maybe I'm just doing it wrong.
Don't do that then. Kennewick to Pendleton. I'm doing it on Google.
Welcome back to our local.
Oh wow, geography. It's an hour. Never mind. I'm wrong. It's an hour. It's over an hour from Kennewick to Pendleton.
Oh, okay. Well, this is a new local Pacific Northwest geography podcast now, and everyone loves it. So thank you,
maybe
Martin.
An hour if you go the speed limit.
Yeah. Thank you, Martin, for listening. Sorry I doxed you on the podcast, but that's fine. Tyler, he did say it was okay. Do you want to read the Damien's email?
Yeah. The subject of this is games based on TV and movies. Damien. On the last Q&A podcast, the topic of making games from popular shows and the idea of controlling side characters where you got to interact with the protagonist. Now, I might be wrong, but wasn't the Matrix Online game based on controlling a side character who did things on the side, with Neo, etc., making an appearance every now and then? I remember people complaining about that and how you couldn't be the one. Well, it's an MMO, so you really can't be the only hero.
No one's the one in an MMO. No one.
I believe that is the case. I think there were plot things that happened in the Matrix Online that are relevant to the fourth Matrix movie. I don't know how important those things are, but I think the game is like sort of referenced like in passing or something.
Did you play it?
No, I never played it.
I never played it either.
There are good stories online about how they shut it down because they sort of made it like glitch out and like fall apart, I think, inside the game, which is like kind of a neat way to do that. Sort of like how they shut down the original Final Fantasy 14 by just flinging a meteor at the whole planet.
I love that. And everyone dies. Yeah.
And everyone dies except for you. You didn't die.
Because you're the hero.
Yeah, you're the warrior of light. Damien goes on to say, I absolutely want to second the motion to a racing game episode. I probably spent half of my homework time on Gran Turismo 3 and 4 with a steering wheel setup. On the topic of movies, I was annoyed at how horrifically bad the movie was. They made the game look like Outrun, and the protagonist simply drove around competitors like it was a tutorial level. The movie did a great job discrediting racing sims, despite that current F1 drivers are using them to practice and often compete. E.g., Max Verstappen took part in Australia's Supercars series, where everyone was a real race car driver during COVID when they couldn't race for real. And they did that for boat racing too. This is me talking, not Damien.
I love that.
A lot of racing stuff went to the sim route, especially when everything was locked down, and it's pretty good. I think it's not quite a replacement for the real thing, but like pretty close when you can't do it. So
I love it. We should do more racing game stuff. I talked about having the wheel for Gran Turismo 2. Now we all know I'm slightly older than Damien, and but I love that, and I love those games, and I think we should talk about Gran Turismo for sure.
Should we
Put that on the
do
long list of games we need to talk about.
should we do commentary on Gran Turismo the movie for episode 300?
I mean, we could. I know nothing about it, so
Right. We need to wait every 100 episodes. It's like every 2 years. We should do more commentaries.
we should do more commentaries. We could do that, but that's a good idea. Thank you, Damien. That's good stuff. All right, next one is from Aaron in Arizona. Dear Mike and Tyler, since my last email, I have completed Doom 1993. The good thing to specify, by the way, because there are
You have to specify.
yeah. If you told me that this was an indie game that came out yesterday, I would believe you. The fact this came out in 1993 is amazing. It surprises me how well that it holds up. It really does hold up.
It does. It's just fun.
It is just fun. When it comes to Chrono Trigger, the Steam versions is now the best way to play it. When it first came to Steam, it was a sad port of the mobile version, but it has been patched and is now comparable to the original. Good to know.
That's good.
I've had an idea for a discussion episode for a while. What are some life lessons you have gained from video games? For example, I have learned the value of presence from League of Legends. This can be applied a few different ways, such as you simply being somewhere can change the outcome of an event. Another is something that applies to me now, which is making sure others know that you are around. At my job, I have started to be strategic in where I sit during all hands meetings so that I'm called on near the end and I have time to think and make a meaningful addition to the conversation. It's starting to get the attention of higher ups that I could be more valuable in a different position, currently in the warehouse and aiming for a marketing/social media manager. Great work as always, Spider Butts, Aaron in Arizona. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
That is also so true because, I mean, we're going to talk about League of Legends here because Tyler and I both indulge in the Lego League, if you will. And I think that whole idea, it's because it relates to sports too. Like the idea of calling where you are and saying where you were. I relate it to if you're working in a restaurant and just saying corner.
Yeah.
Like that is such a huge thing.
Or like hot plate, right? Like so people know to kind of get out of your way because if they run into you, might have a bad time.
I mean, how mad do you get in League of Legends if you're playing with a rando and the person leaves their lane and they don't tell you? Like it's that kind of thing. And I am that person, by the way, because I
do it all the time.
I'm in top lane and I'm living on an island in my own little world. I'm on my own Lego island is what's happening with my top lane. But yeah, I do think that's a really good idea and like the lessons you can learn from video games because you learn a lot about teamwork and like it's very similar to like team sports as a child, like that same kind of thing, like communication and all that stuff. It's great.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
I don't want to go into it anymore because I don't want to ruin the future episode. But thank you, Aaron.
I can't think of any like good life lessons like off the top of my head that I've learned from
always shoot something in the eye 3 times.
Yeah, that's true. Always shoot it. If it's got an eyeball, that's the weak point.
So is the headshots.
Heads always weak points. Unless it's Vex, then it's the like milk thing in the center.
I mean, I would say like spatial reasoning behind like games like Portal and stuff are like good. Even like because you ever see someone doing something in a really silly way, like when they're like trying to like moving, for example, is like one of those things where you see someone like carrying something and you're like, there's like 800 better, safer ways to do that.
Yeah.
I feel like video games are one of those things that's like stop and think about the problem and like solve it that way. You know what I mean? Instead of rushing it. That whole ability to just like stop and really think about something, I think, and analyze it is like a video game thing as well. Do you want to read Cash's email?
Yes. The subject is finally saying hi. Hello, Mike and Tyler. I've been a longtime listener of the podcast and love every minute of it. Thank you, Cash. I'm very far behind, though, on episode 89 because I took a break from podcasts for a couple of years. At the rate I'm going now, it'll take me over a year to catch up, but I wanted to say hi anyways. Well, we'll be waiting for you.
We'll be here.
Catch up. I don't have anything to say about the recent episodes, so I'll just talk generally about some games. Firstly, I'm glad for you guys going through the PSP library. A couple months ago, I picked up a PSP, but I wasn't familiar with the games. But y'all talking about it made me aware of a lot of games that I wouldn't have known about. I picked up GTA Liberty City Stories, Daxter, FF7 Crisis Core, which are games I normally wouldn't have gone for. All of those are fantastic PSP games. Liberty City Stories is on iOS and PS2 as well. And FF7 Crisis Core got a remake recently. So if you want to play those games, but you don't want to play them on PSP, there are other ways. He goes on to say, I haven't played any yet because I've been busy with college and Pokemon Sapphire. I didn't expect it to be such a long game. That generation of Pokemon games is really long.
Yeah, they go for it.
Also, a couple days ago, I picked up an N64 and was wondering if you had any recommendations for what games to target first. I have 3D All Stars for the Switch and the Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask remakes for 3DS. So, besides those, is there a game that should be top priority in your eyes? Hold on. That's all for now. I would love to talk more about games if you want. I'm somewhat of a collector, and I have most consoles from the main three: PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo. And I love getting to hear about the history of games from y'all because it deepens my appreciation of games and is made super entertaining by you guys. Oh, thank you. N64 games, go.
Okay, so you're going to want to get Perfect Dark first. But
Yep.
I'm going to say if you want to have the game of kings, if you will, a noble game, a game of professionalism and class and love, Snowboard Kids 1 and 2 are really what you're going to be wanting, because Snowboard Kids is like the greatest games of all time. Now, I have more to talk about with N64s because I have some games at my desk here that we're going to talk about later. But I would say Snowboard Kids series, Perfect Dark, Mario Kart 64 is a classic. Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, underrated racing game. Lego Racers, an underrated racing game. Other than that, there's a lot more, but those are the ones off the top of my head. If you're into fighting games, Super Smash Bros. 64 is probably the best way to go. There are other ones on there that are good. I don't have as many experiences with those as I like. I know Clay Fighters, but those games don't really hold up very well and a little pricey. The good thing about 64 is that a lot of the popular games like Mario Kart and stuff are still pretty reasonably priced because there were so many made. Snowboard Kids 2, though, it's going to cost you a pretty penny. So I'd go with 1, unless you can have a cool friend in Japan like I do. Shout out to Matt, that can get you the cheap versions. But yeah, that's my rant. I'm done. I promise. I'm over. You can see the excitement on my face though when the question came up. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's an area of expertise for me to jump into
Yes.
here.
I would like to add Banjo Kazooie.
Oh, and
Of course.
I thought about more too. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2.
Oh, yeah. I would say the PlayStation versions of those games are better, just because they have like the full soundtrack.
Mm-hmm. If you could get, I would say 1 is fine. I don't know how 2 really goes because I have 2 and I haven't played it yet.
Yeah, I'd still say
it's actually that yellow cartridge right there. That's Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 right there on the camera. So
yeah, Donkey Kong 64, underrated. Even people don't like it, but it's good. Conker's Bad Fur Day, also great if you were looking for. I'm just naming off rare platformers because they were really.
They were all fire. They were all
just
really
all bangers in the N64 era. Banjo Kazooie you can play on the Xbox 360. That's actually the better way to play it, the 360 version. And same with Perfect Dark because they upgrade the graphics a lot. It looks kind of more like a Dreamcast game than an N64 game on Xbox 360. And
I also have some obscure ones too. If you want to go obscure with it, you can also get, and this is a weird one, Bassmasters 2000 for the N64 is actually a really fun fishing game. I know that's a weird recommendation, but I have it. It's one of the. It's not the blue cart there. Oh, also Spider-Man 64 is fun.
Oh yeah,
if you want like a beat 'em up style game, I like Spider-Man 64. But yeah, plenty of
Star Fox 64. You got to get Star Fox 64.
Yeah, duh, Star Fox, obviously.
And 1080 snowboarding.
Also, Rogue Squadron games. And then if you're really feeling Star Wars, you could also get Battle for Naboo, which is another good game that I don't have yet, but it's solid. 1080 snowboarding.
Yeah, gotta go 1080 snowboarding.
Dress up like a panda. Okay.
Snowboard Kids is like the arcade, like Mario Kart version, where 1080 snowboarding is like more of a little bit more realistic.
And we use the term realistic pretty liberally.
Very loosely.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's a great thing. Also, they have some PSs here on here for cash.
I know it's 4 to 5 years too late, but you're still looking for someone to do Destiny 1 raids. I used to be addicted to it and have it on Xbox. Destiny 1 raids most of them are in Destiny 2 now.
They are mostly
except for Wrath of
the Machine now. But I would say if you do that, you would have to like unlock everything over again. Sorry, the string's bothering me. You would have to unlock everything over again, and that's going to take some time in Destiny 2.
Yeah, but I would if you want to do those, I would recommend just firing.
Well, actually,
getting into it.
Actually, you don't have to because I'm pretty sure everyone gets 1810 gear when they start.
Yeah, you do, and all of the old raids, I believe, are free for free to play players as well. So
they're like legend content.
Yeah, you don't even have to buy expansions or anything. You can do those.
There's actually quite a bit of free content on Destiny 2 right now.
Yeah.
If you've never played and you're like, I don't know, I'm like, you should give it a download and give it a
You
try
can do a
because
lot for free. And by the time you get to the point where you start wanting the paid content, like you'll know if it's worth it for you or not.
yeah, exactly. That's a good rec. Spoilers, Tyler and I have been playing it again. Okay.
Yeah,
So
we're back. We'll
we're back.
get there.
Mm-hmm. All right. So this next email is
Oh, can I please read this one?
yes, you can read this email. I think
Okay.
this is all you.
This the subject of this email is a rebuttal of sorts. It's from Benjamin, not my brother Benjamin, I don't think. It is, and I made a new button on my soundboard for this one. Dear Codex, I hope this email finds you well. Insert.
And his name is John C.
All right, now we got to get into it. This email is really to that baby Sony pony, Reeve, who wrote into Mailbag 21 claiming that you got to have a PS5 to be a real gamer. It's cute that they think that owning a PS5 makes them a real gamer, but we all know that anyone without a gaming PC is just faking it. Console gamers might as well throw their cute pieces of plastic in the trash. In fact, if you don't own an RTX 4090, you are nothing.
Man, I
You
still
are
lose in
worthless
all of
with
these
no
emails.
hope of ever gaming for real. Sorry, Mike. I guess this means you aren't a real gamer. This is all in the email, by the way.
I'm just not a real gamer on any of these
I guess you're not a real
arguments.
gamer. Oh, but my console can do 4K, the baby gamers say. Ha! Enjoy that 30 FPS slideshow, noob. But I have FSR2 on console. Ha! Wait until you see DLSS 3 frame gen. The average console gamer would weep as they go blind from the amount of frames I am generating. Seriously, my RTX 4090 was so huge that it didn't even fit in my PC case when I upgraded. That's how powerful it is. Please see attached photo of me having to go to Home Depot to buy a pair of tin snips to mod my case to fit my graphics card in. You can show it on screen if you want, and I think you should, Mike.
Okay. I'll get this slide. I'm gonna download these though because I don't want people seeing my email.
Oh, I got more to read here.
Okay, good.
Oh, but the exclusives, the console plebs cry. Ha! Sony is putting everything on PC because they know that's where the real gamers live. Console gamers are such suckers, they'll put out a white box, then 2 years later, they'll sell you a special edition black one, and you buy it, and then the next year, there's a special edition white one, and you buy it again. Seriously, those are the only colors you can see. Do you even understand RGB? Nope, you don't, because you can't even customize what color your fans glow. Pathetic. So to you console fanboys, get out of your mom's basement, go get a job, and drop $2,000 on a graphics card and actually get serious. I bet John Glames has a 4090. Mic drop. Respectfully yours,
Wow.
Ben in Idaho. P.S. Just kidding. Or am I?
Okay, here we go. You ready?
These are the
pictures.
problem too when I got a 4090. I also had to. I bought a new case.
So they had to cut apart their case to make this fit in, and it barely fits in.
Yeah. Well, you can see, yeah, it's like at an angle here. And then they had to cut the piece. Yeah, I think in that first image, you can see how they cut it to make it fit in there. I think that's the same PC case I had when I got my 4090, and I just bought the bigger version of that case.
So I probably couldn't fit a 4090 in my case, and I would have to upgrade probably.
You probably would. The thing is an absolute monster, like just a unit. 49.
I love also that they have the mat that says "Please stand by" from Fallout loading screen.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's great. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for that. Or should I say thank you? I mean, I lose in all of these situations. I'm just not a real gamer. All right.
That's a fun email.
That is a fun email. That's great. Let's go ahead and we're going to read one more email, I think, before we move on to our Discord stuff. If that's all right with you, Tyler.
Yeah.
We're going to go ahead and read this email from Matt.
All right.
So it's called Persona 3 and Japanese Schools. You raised the Matt signal, is how it starts. First, about Odaiba. Is it Odaiba? Is that how you say it? The real world setting that Persona 3's setting was based off of. It is an artificial island in the middle of Tokyo Bay, and it's basically a glorified tourist trap. It has malls, restaurants, and some ridiculous sightseeing attractions, including a scaled down replica of the Statue of Liberty that is 40 feet tall. There's a Madame Tussauds wax museum, a giant Gundam statue, and Sega Joyopolis, which is a large Sega-themed and Japanese pop culture-themed indoor amusement park. I wanted to take Tyler to Odaiba when he was in Japan last year, but our schedule was a bit too tight to make it happen. Next time. Fun. Hopefully I'll be with you next time too. That'd be fun. So as for the Japanese school system that is reflected in Persona 3 and the other modern Persona games, I can give some specialized insight because I work in the Japanese schools as a teacher. The games all follow the Japanese school calendar, which is actually the same as Japan's fiscal calendar, which starts in April and ends in March. It depends on the school, but some have classes on Saturday and others don't. Or if they do, it's like once or twice a month. The same goes for corporate offices. Calendars in Japan will have the calendar days color coded. Black are normal school/work days. Red are days off and are always on Sundays and public holidays. Saturdays are blue because they are sometimes days off depending on the school or company. What sometimes sucks is when a public holiday falls on a Saturday for schools and companies where you would have to normally go in, that's a day off. For everyone else who normally has Saturday off, nothing changes and it doesn't get made up on the following Monday or the preceding Friday. If a
Dang.
public holiday falls on a Sunday, however, it does get observed the following Monday. There's also a neat law in Japan where if a normal day falls in between two public holidays, then that normal day also becomes a public holiday. It's a
Smart.
rare occurrence that happens once every 5 or 6 years. The Persona games all include these real-life Japanese holidays too, which goes along with Tyler's comments about learning about actual Japanese culture from these games, which was the same for me. I wouldn't say it was directly responsible for it, but it may have helped put me on the path that eventually led me moving to Japan. There, now you have the Matt in Japan origin story. Instead of seeing my parents get murdered before my eyes, it was just me playing Persona and getting really into a Japanese pop idol group. So long, Matt Man out.
The color coding of the calendars thing that he says is interesting because the Persona games are color coded that way too. When it like shifts to the next day, I'll always look forward ahead and I go, that Saturday's blue. I gotta go to school.
Oh, lame. I think that people would riot in the United States if they had to go to school on Saturday.
I think you're right.
It'd be upsetting. We're talking. I mean, people are talking here about 4-day week.
Love it.
Which I am fully down for.
I want a 4-day work week as well.
100%. Yes, that'd be fantastic. I think that's gonna do it. We have more emails, but I would say we hold off because I don't want to go too long. Unless you want to just power through. What do you think?
Let's power through. Let's do it.
All right, we're doing it. Never mind. Let's go to okay. So let's read this message. Do you want to read this one here from K Rose?
No.
Oh, I just saw it. Never mind. I just saw it. That's so funny. Okay, we're gonna leave that up to the imagination. You know what? If you want to know what that email was, we'll put it in the Discord. All right, let's move this next one. Let's go ahead and
go with Jordan.
Yeah, let's go with Jordan's email here.
All right. Good evening. And how are you? Great. It's not evening here when we're reading this. Still waiting for the worst games ever episode. So that way my dear old Bullet Witch can have its day in the sun, even though it's a bad day. So I have another idea for an episode. How about games that aren't meant to be humorous? I've played a few in my days. Games such as Whacked, Kung Fu Chaos, Armed and Dangerous, and Conker's Bad Fur Day. I disagree. Conker's Bad Fur Day is meant to be humorous. That's a funny game.
A comedy game, right?
That
I
is,
feel like that's meant to be a comedy game.
It's full of parodies of like Saving Private Ryan and The Matrix and stuff like that. So I have two more questions for you guys. What is something you miss most of all when it comes to retro gaming that the industry just doesn't do anymore? For me, that's releasing a complete game or no microtransactions. So we can start with that one. I agree with that. The complete game, no microtransactions. Apple Arcade, low key, pretty good. No microtransactions in any of those games. They're just games made to be fun.
Here comes the Apple stand.
Tyler's we got more Apple stuff.
It's gonna get real Apple heavy. If you don't want to listen to us talk about Apple, I would recommend you're gonna have to do a fast forward button for like 10 minutes in a bit. I would say instruction booklets, manuals.
Oh yeah,
physical instruction manuals. That's something I am extremely nostalgic for, and also strategy guides, which they still do make. But I just you don't
games
see
get updated now that like strategy guides don't really like. Can you imagine if you had bought a Destiny 2 strategy guide when that game came out? Worthless now.
Yeah, I actually saw and I almost bought it as a gag gift for you, Tyler. I almost bought yesterday a $10 Duke Nukem Forever Prima strategy guide. And I was like, how funny would it be if I was like, if I got you this, but if I was like, if I got that for him for like Christmas or his birthday, I'd have to send a real gift also. Just like, I feel like it's just a gag gift.
That's pretty funny.
It is pretty funny, but I was also just like, I don't want to. Tyler they didn't even finish this game.
Yeah, that's true. DNF did not finish.
Did not finish. Yeah.
On the flip side of that, something I don't miss is not every game is like this, but older games were often harsher in their penalties for like loss, like, hey, game over, you got to start over from the beginning or something like that, or like RPGs where you die and you just go back to the last save and it's like it's just on you as to when that last save was. I do appreciate more games nowadays being a little bit more maybe lenient's not the right word, but like respectful of your time. Like in Persona 3 on PS2, when you die, you go back to your last save, like whenever that was. Sorry, bud. In the remake Reload, you can like retry the battle, or you get a couple of different options. I think maybe the original PS2 had something like that, but it was a bit less forgiving than Reload was.
Yeah, the original, like, just having auto saves now is so
Yeah.
crazy when you think about it. Because, like, I mean, we've played games for this podcast that I've lost time. I've lost like 30 minutes of time because I forget to like save it, and it feels real bad.
Yeah.
And it actually affects me reviewing the game or talking about it on this podcast because I get pretty upset when it like there's nothing worse than feeling a game's wasting your time, which is why in 2024 a new game that feels that way, completely unacceptable. I feel like if that happens now, I'll be out immediately.
Yeah.
So
There are some games where like the lack of save points is like sort of contributes to like some of the tension in the game. That's okay, I guess. I still would prefer a different way of doing that, but I guess that's fine. Like if you're building it into the game design on purpose, that's fine. But it felt like a lot of games back then were just doing it because that's just what they thought you did. Anyway, we got another question here. Next question. When you were a kid, you probably had some incredible plays. What's your favorite gaming moment from when you were a kid and it came from video games? For me, being the older brother would always get teamed up on in Halo. So we'd play Blood Gulch and they patrol the map with tanks. Cheeky cheaters, I say. Any who weren't on the team on teams in the game, but would torture me all the same. Oh, wait, they weren't on teams in the game, but they would torture me all the same. But the thought that they had me cornered. Well, I jumped right in between both of them. My brothers blew each other up because they tried to hit me as I leaped in between both of them. Anywho, hope you are well and get plenty of awesome plays. That sounds like a good play.
Oh man, I have some like I think for me it was like we would play Perfect Dark well into like 1 or 2 in the morning in Fairbanks, Alaska, and I would play, and we would play it as a team against bots. We would just fill it full of bots, and then all 3 of us would play. And it was kind of a competition to see who could get the most kills, but also it was just like fun, cooperative, like play with friends. And that's a childhood nostalgic gaming memory. I honestly have a lot of adult ones now.
Me too. I have more great adult gaming memories, I think, than
I mean, playing the Destiny raid blind with you and 4 other friends of ours, the one where you get Deepstone Crypt.
Yeah.
And like our friends screaming, I'm in space, and just like not knowing was just a really funny moment. And like that kind of it's fun that I still get those. Like that's the fun part for me, is that we still get those kind of moments.
Yeah. I think one moment that sticks out to me is in high school, the first LAN party I went to, and this was at least 20 years ago now. I remember playing a game of Call of Duty, the original, the very first Call of Duty. I think only myself and like one other person had loaded into the game because we were like still kind of getting set up and maybe testing something. And I remember sort of like hunting this guy down and like sniping him from far away, and then hearing him on the other side of this was in our high school library. So it was kind of a big open room on the other side of the library, just yelling like he was just mad because I shot him. He's just like, ah! And I was like, I don't know, for some reason that moment just like sticks in my head of like, oh man, LAN parties are awesome because it's like playing online, but you're in the same room with them too.
Yeah, no, that's a great memory. Those kind of memories are super fun. Like I talked about playing Counter-Strike on my dorm room floor freshman year of college, and that kind of thing of like hearing someone get mad. It's so fun. Yeah, those are all good memories. So also like solo memories too, like beating like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater for the first time, like getting like golds and stuff, and that like that's just a fun. I'm sure for you, like Legend of Zelda was like a huge moment for you, you know. So it's like, it's good stuff. Did you read Jordan's outro, because it was pretty great? The goodbye line.
I lost the email.
Oh, it's arachnid posterior major. So I just wanted to read that.
Nice.
All right, I'm gonna read this email here from Andre from Greenville. Hey guys, as always, love the podcast. Certainly helps Mondays get along faster. I really enjoyed the Lego episode, and Lego never makes a bad video game. I was writing because I need advice. What device do I need for optimal retro gaming? I currently own an NES Mini and an SNES Mini with slight modifications to them. I also have a hacked Wii, which has the complete libraries for NES, SNES, and Sega Genesis, but the controller response sucks. By the way, they're all pretty much run off of Hackchi. I don't know if do you know what Hackchi
Yeah,
is?
that's a homebrew enabling thing on
Ah,
Wii.
gotcha. It's my dream to be able to play all retro games from 1981 up to the PS1. And yes, that includes Atari 7800, the Sega Master System, Neo Geo, and TurboGrafx. So, what do I need? How can I get the best libraries and great gameplay with button response that won't drive me insane? Thanks, Mike and Tyler, Spider Butts, Andre from Greenville. Well, I mean, I'm pretty happy with my Miu Mini, and Tyler's showing his there too. Is that your Miu Mini, or
This is
is
my
that
Miu Mini. Yeah, this is the bigger one, the Miu Mini Plus, I think.
okay? And that's the one that I have is the Miu Mini Plus. So we play a lot of I play a lot of games on Miu Mini Plus, but that's a portable option. If you're looking for a non-portable option, would you say like is it worth doing the Retro Pi thing? Have you done it? I haven't done Retro
I
Pi.
have. I mean, if you want a little DIY thing, like a project to put together, using a Raspberry Pi is a good idea. Um, yeah, and you don't need one of the latest Raspberry Pis that are more expensive. You can get one of the cheaper ones that if you just want to run up to PlayStation 1 games. I think that's pretty doable on like probably up to a Raspberry Pi 3, I would assume could handle that. Um,
I really like
otherwise,
the Miu
yeah,
Mini though. I love my Miu Mini, and I do think the nature of those older games, you don't need a big screen. You can play it portably, and the
yeah,
screen's nice, and it makes it really easy. There's some great stuff like collections on archive.org that you can download to help you out there. Like,
yeah. The Miu Mini Plus has Wi-Fi, so you can do like retro achievements too.
that's what I have set up on mine, and it's really fun playing a game from 1990s and getting an achievement unlocked for it. It feels
Yeah,
really cool, and then you could track it on the Retro Achievements website and see what you've gotten, which is
yeah.
pretty cool. That's how I played Star Tropics. It's how I play Legend of the River King right now, on and off. Also, I'll have like a game like pop into my head. Recently, I had Iridian 3D. Did you ever play Iridian 3D?
I remember it when it came out for the Game Boy Advance, but I never played
Mm-hmm.
it. I don't think. I think it was a
Yes.
launch title for the Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, and that just popped into my head. It's like a Star Fox clone, and I was like, "Oh!" And then the second one was on my Miu Mini already because it was from one of the collections that I downloaded. So I played that for a bit, which was really fun.
Nice.
So yeah, there's some just really great games that you like. I would say Miu Mini just for the ease of it, but you could definitely make something with a better response time. I would say that the Raspberry Pi is probably the way to go.
Yeah,
But as
I
far
would
as
assume so.
I don't know much about controller response time though. Like if that's really what you're looking for, like I don't know if you have to do anything special to make that happen. Do you know,
Yeah,
Tyler?
I'm not. I don't know off the top of my head. I'm sure there are people who are figuring that stuff out. If you get a powerful enough system that can do like RetroArch has a run ahead feature, which, as far as I know, basically what it does is it's like starts because there's older games are so easy to emulate these days. It can actually start calculating what the next frame is going to be um, before you press a button, and it'll like calculate frames based on any of the buttons that you could be pressing, and like before it has to display it. It's wild technology, but basically means that they cut down on a lot of input lag because it's just calculating all possible possibilities based on the buttons you're pressing. So, and then just shows you the one that whatever matches what you actually ended up pushing. It's called Run Ahead. I don't know exactly how it works. I think that's how it works, but it's very cool.
That is very cool. Yeah, so that's something to look into for sure. We gave Andre some ideas. Really, we're just two Miu Mini stands, though, is what we
Yep,
are.
big
That's
fan.
really what we are.
Also, a lot of good Android things. If you want to go like a little bit more expensive and get like an Ain Odin tablet, like Android tablet, that'll emulate up to Switch. I think A&EO also has a Pocket S Android thing now that it runs like the latest Snapdragon 3 process. Like it's probably the most powerful Android device you can get, and that'll run also Switch games probably. So cool.
Yeah,
So,
that's neat.
and you can plug those into your TV and like sync up a controller too. So you could kind of get the best of both worlds there.
Yeah, but as always, you need to have a legal physical
Of
copy of these
course.
games, right? Of course,
Of course. Yep.
always, everybody. We don't mess around with that.
Yep.
You
No
know us.
piracy. Own your games.
That's right. That's right. Okay, let's read this next email here from looks like oh, this is actually a really good recommendation from They don't. Do they have a way to like? Do they have a sign off from it? I get they don't say who their name is.
Are you looking at the one from Roman?
Yeah, is it just we're just gonna go from? Okay, we're just gonna say Roman. That works. Yeah, I always look for. So in your email, by the way, I always look for a sign off. Like if you want to say your name from somewhere, that's just what I always look for. But otherwise, we're just gonna dox you. We're just gonna say Roman. That's fine. That's great. So Roman says, "Hey, you two, I am absolutely in love with your podcast. Please do an episode on Cliffy B's book, Control Freak. I love the episodes you did where you took apart a well-researched book. This has Mike and Tyler written all over it.
It's a great book. I've read it. I really loved it.
And I've actually saw that book at a local bookstore in Seattle recently. I also saw Sid Meier's book at a local bookstore,
I want to
and
read that.
I'm thinking we should go that route soon because I am. That's great that you said that because I actually love the episodes we did where we took apart a book chapter by chapter. Those are some of my favorite ones to do because Tyler and I are like have a friendly book club, and you also probably notice like when we do games, we kind of each take one and we go back and forth, right? But the book episodes we can kind of do together more,
Yeah.
which I enjoy.
John Romero has a book that came out, I think, relatively recently. Also, Doom Guy. Is that what's
He
called?
does.
Doom Guy. We should.
He does.
That's a good one to sort of as a companion piece to the Masters of Doom book that we did.
Yeah, let's do it. Do you want to do a book? Let's do a book.
Let's do a book.
You're kind of winding up the Persona series, and I think I'll do one more Lego, and then we'll probably wind it up there. I know I am going to take on Minecraft. This is a promise that I'm going to do it. I am looking for sources, like primary sources right now. So if you know, I'm sure there are some books out there. I just haven't even looked yet. But if you have one that you're like, Mike, this is the one you need to look at, let me know, and I will go for it. It's also going to be hard for me because I have some personal feelings about it, about like the deals and the people involved, and I don't want to like let those get in the way. But hey, it is what it is. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on now to our Discord options here.
Yeah.
So the first one is from actually we got one more here. We got the Lego games one, right? Of what Lego games would be in there. Like what we want Lego, like what games that are actual game series that need Lego games. I don't know why it took me so long to get there. Okay, so we should just go back and forth. What's your first one?
My first one, I would love an Uncharted Lego game. I think that would fit the Lego, like just the normal Lego aesthetic of games. I think Nathan Drake it might be similar to like the Indiana Jones ones, but I don't care. I want a Nathan Drake Uncharted Lego game.
I would love, and this is one that's like, again, it's just what we would love. I think having a game like Helldivers in Lego, made of Lego, would be very funny. It would be like a comical, like your friends are dropping bombs on you, you explode into a bunch of pieces. I think that would be fantastic. Or the Lego aliens like rip you apart and you just like fly halfway like a Lego figurine. I think that'd be fun.
Lego games can be extremely violent and just rip characters apart limb from limb, and it's fine.
Yeah, it would be
for everyone.
Yeah, it'll be fantastic. I would love it. So we should definitely have a Lego Helldivers. What's your next one?
Destiny. I think Destiny in Lego form would be really fun.
Yeah.
Again, so explosions, bricks flying everywhere.
Also, that kind of gameplay, like having a little bit different gameplay of a Lego game, because I think the Lego formula is pretty well set in stone at this point of how you play a Lego game, especially from one of these like franchises like Harry Potter or Star Wars or Indiana Jones, and having them redo something would be really neat. So in that vein, I want Skyrim Elder Scrolls Lego game, and I want it to be like a Skyrim game, but out of Lego, a world, an RPG that's out of Lego. You can even just go with the Knights, the Castle Knights thing they already have.
Yeah.
But I want an RPG, an open RPG that's made of Lego.
That sounds fun. My next one is Spider-Man, although maybe the Avengers and Marvel superheroes games count because there's like 3 or 4 of those. But I still would love one just dedicated to Spider-Man.
Oh, man. Yeah.
They make Spider-Man Legos too.
Yeah, they do. It's weird they haven't made a Spider-Man game.
Yeah.
That could be
3 Batman games, and those are all great.
That could be a prediction. Like that could be something that comes out soon that you're foreshadowing here, Tyler.
Lego Spider-Man video game.
Lego Spider-Man video game. I bet you.
I wonder if they would consider that like sort of like competition with the Spider-Man games that are coming out, because I bet we'll get some DLC for Spider-Man 2, and then I don't know, maybe some kind of expansion pack or something, or I don't know. I wonder if they would do that, or if those are two separate audiences that they're not worried about.
What if it's just a DLC that's into the Spider-Verse and you go into a Lego world? That would be it.
Man.
That would
the
do
way
it.
they had the Lego Peter Parker in Spider-Verse 2. Oh man.
That'd be fun, right? That'd be really cool. Someone tell Spidey Librarian. Okay. So the next, I have two more. I'm gonna just do them really quick here. I know it's a Mega Bloks property, but I would love a Halo game. I would love a first-person shooter Lego game. I just would love that.
Destiny, bring it. Let's do it.
Oh,
Two
man.
Bungie properties on here.
How cute would Lego Doom be? That would be adorable. Lego Doom would be so funny. I think I didn't even have that on my list, but Lego Doom would be fun.
That's
and
like there's that mobile game. I think it's called Mighty Doom. That was like Doom, but like chibi style. It was like it was a cute Doom.
I would love that.
I didn't really play it, but
I didn't play it either. I heard it got really microtransaction-y and like classic cell phone grindy, and I was not interested.
That's too bad.
And the last thing I want to do, because I think it would be a cool way to change the puzzles, and they already did building in the last game. I would love a Zelda game that was Lego. If Lego and because they're already kind of doing the rumor is, okay, I'm gonna hit the tangent button, Tyler. Everyone here knows I'm a huge Lego fan, and I'm obsessed with Lego. The rumor is the Great Deku Tree set is the first Lego Zelda set. It's been rumored for about a year and a half now. I don't know when it's coming out, but they're going to make, it sounds like they're going to make a Lego Zelda set, and there's going to be a line of Lego Zelda. And I think this is where Tyler gets into Lego. I think
I'm on board. I mean, I've never not been into Lego. I
know you just
don't have room. I don't
yeah.
They're expensive and I don't have a place to put them.
I will show in the Discord a picture of the areas of my room in my house because Tyler knows it's bad. It's bad. Oh man. But yeah, I think a Lego Zelda would really fit too, with like a building puzzle kind of aspect of it. I also want it to be a top-down Zelda with just a Lego world, kind of like the plastic made world of Link's Awakening remake.
Yeah,
kind of like that. So all right, Tyler, it's time for you to go into it. And
so
I'm ready.
We got the question from Will. He says, I'll bite. Tyler, I know you said in the past that Apple could be disruptive in the console space. Do you still think that's the case in 2024? And if so, what does that look like? The short answer is yes. I do think it's still possible. I'm going to speed run how I think this could happen and how I think they're like sort of trying to do it, but they're just kind of doing it in half measures. So it's kind of the same way I've always been seeing it. Here's what I would do if I were Apple and I wanted to get into the gaming space right now. I'd drop the M4 processor in an Apple TV, call it the console, make it under $500. I think $400 is a sweet spot. You want it to cost about as much as like a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox because you want to signal that it competes with that. The M4 is an insane processor. It's the fastest processor they make. It's only in iPads right now. The single core Geekbench score is higher than the latest Core i9 from Intel. And that's in a freaking iPad. Cooling, etc. Whether or not the iPad can actually sustain it, it doesn't matter. Throw a fan in the Apple TV. I don't care. The multi-core score is not as high as the Core i9 just because the i9 has like 20 cores or something. They should make their own controller, but I don't think they should try to do anything special with it. Don't Apple it up. Just make it an Xbox like clone, but include it in the box. Or strike a partnership with Microsoft or Sony and just include one of those controllers in the box. Don't try to reinvent the wheel here, but you do want to include it in the box. This is their console. It's basically a Mac Mini plugged into your TV. Make it a little bit bigger. Throw a fan in there. I don't care. Do a big old tvOS update that better highlights content that isn't video because it's kind of just apps and it's so very, very video focused right now. I think they could do a better job of highlighting other kinds of content. Then they got to use big money to get games. And they do this a little bit already. You got to have games, as we all know. Ain't got no games, bad console. You need exclusives and they need to be good ones and they need to be ones that people get excited about. I don't know necessarily what those look like. But that's the hard part for Apple. That's the part that they don't have any expertise in. They just can't seem, they can buy ports. Like they've got Resident Evil 4 is on their platforms. Resident Evil Village is. Assassin's Creed Mirage is coming out in like 2 or 3 weeks, I think.
You rumor milled BG3.
I did. I think Baldur's Gate 3 is coming to iPad. That's what I think because it's already on Mac, on Apple Silicon. Death Stranding is also a game that you can play on your iPhone, your iPad, your Mac. It's on everything. And then there's like a ton of stuff in the Apple Arcade that's really fun. So I think they should keep doing that, keep throwing money at games to get ports, but they really need to get some good exclusives that people get excited about. Like, why am I suddenly bought in, because right now people see Assassin's Creed on iPhone, they go, it's the crappy iPhone version. It's actually not. It's the full game. But yeah,
I have a
you need something.
question.
Yes.
I'm going to throw out a hypothetical to you. What studio would you want Apple to get? If it would pretend any studio, just it's a dream. Would you want them to? I mean, I have an idea of what you would want them to get, and I
Dream
think
Studio.
Dream Studio. I was thinking if they could get Square Enix and get Final Fantasy stuff to be not necessarily, maybe not exclusive, but maybe it drops first
Yeah, like timed
on Apple,
exclusives.
like timed exclusive, like, or if they could, I mean, imagine live in a world where you could get Final Fantasy 14 on your Apple TV.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty nuts,
It
right?
already runs on Mac.
Mm-hmm.
So that
That was
would
my
be,
thought, would be like get a I feel like, because I feel like a JRPG just fits with kind of their whole like theme mindset. Like I don't picture Apple getting a Doom.
Yeah.
and, you know, I picture them getting like a JRPG series that people love, something already beloved.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you get the latest title in an already beloved series, and you get it either fully exclusive or like timed exclusive. And they kind of did that with the game Fantasian, which is still an iOS exclusive that has a cool battle system. It's made by a lot of the original people that made Final Fantasy games, including the music and the battle systems and stuff. It is a good game, but people don't really know about it. I don't, because it plays on Apple TV, it plays to your iPhone, your iPad, your Mac. It's on everything. But they have, that's the next part of this, is that they have the ecosystem that everybody else wants, because all of their products run on the same processors and more or less the same operating systems and have the same kinds of capabilities. They can do things like put Assassin's Creed out on your iPhone, on your iPad, on your Mac. They should put it on the Apple TV if they could put together an Apple TV that's powerful enough to run it, and then your save file syncs and you don't even worry about it. You just buy it on the App Store, and now you can play it on your TV, you can play it on your phone, whatever. They need to also be okay with games that require controllers and figure out a way to display those as like, hey, these are the like quote unquote real games, right? You need a controller to play this game, because people will look at it and go, I don't really want to play Assassin's Creed with a touchscreen, which I don't blame you. It probably is not super great, but the game will support controller. And I think they should be okay with games that only support controller.
How excited would you be if they decided to release an Apple controller that was just a specific to Apple controller, like a Steam controller?
It really depends on the controller, because I think they could really F that up. And that would really, that's why I said it earlier, like, don't Apple it up. Like, just make it an Xbox clone. If you want to do something cool down the road, fine. But to start with, don't try to do anything. Like, don't try to come out with the next Wiimote, right? Don't be doing that. Just get good games, and then really push the cohesiveness of the ecosystem of like, buy it once, play on all your devices. You know, you get somebody who's playing it on their TV, and then they hop in the Uber with their iPad and they're playing it in the Uber with their iPad, and then they get on the plane and they're playing it on their phone on the plane, and then they get to their destination and they pop it back up on the Apple TV they have at their destination, and they're just like, it's the same game. That's the ad. I would run that ad. Yeah, I think they could do it. They're the ones that can do it. They're the only ones that could. They have everything in place to do it. They just need to like get serious about it and get good exclusive games. That's how they would do it. Anyway, that's my I am very passionate about this. This is my
I love it. I saw this on here and I'm like, well, I'm just gonna let Tyler go for about 5 minutes. It sounds like.
the Apple rant of the year is this one. I could also talk at length about Microsoft's strategy, which I think should be similar. They're not quite as poised to do this as well as Apple is, but I think they have a little bit more. They have a little bit of a head start in the games area because they have Activision and they have all the game studios that they're buying and then running into the ground, which is another story entirely. We don't need to get into that.
Maybe a discussion episode in the very near future. That could be next week, because we might want to talk about that next week. But I was wondering, because when this was brought up and the war right now that Apple has with like Epic Games regarding their like whole point of sale, I guess is what you could call it, system with like how Apple Store takes a cut.
Yeah.
They would also have to figure that out most likely, because if they're going to try to be a gaming console in now, like hypothetically, they have to have like Fortnite, Roblox, those big games of service games on their
Roblox
platforms.
already there.
Yeah, I mean, but they have to like figure that out, I guess.
Fortnite just wants to, or Epic just wants to get around the payment stuff, which is actually like the console manufacturers take a similar cut too. Like if Epic wants to be on Xbox, like they give 30% to Microsoft. It's the same cut.
Maybe it's just because mobile gaming is so big. It's just where the significant portion is
Yeah,
coming
I
from.
think they're like, we're big enough that if we ran our own payment system on iOS, we could like get that 30% back, which is probably an extremely large chunk. And I I think on game consoles, you can make the argument that these are purpose built machines that are like meant to be sort of locked down in that way, and there's a lot of history there with the platform owners controlling those things. Whereas with iPhones and iPads, you could make the argument that those are more general purpose devices and thus should be more open, like PCs and Macs are as well. Like you can play Fortnite on a Mac because you can just download the Epic Game Store on your Mac.
Yeah, that's true. Well, real quick. One, loved it. That was great, Tyler. Two, I forgot to mention regarding the Lego question we had first. Who recommended that? I forgot to put that out there. So it was recommended actually by two people. Um, it was recommended by Renadar 048 and also by Girox 001 on Discord, just so you know that. There's also two more questions that we need to cover that missed the cut last week or last
Okay.
mailbag. So I was just going to get into those right now. Are you okay with that before we jump into the next one? So the first one is from Squirrelmancer. Do you have any guilty pleasure games? For me, it's gotcha game Arknights. I know it's a microtransaction hell designed for lonely middle-aged men, but I want to continue dating my digital alligator boyfriend. A close second would be Goodbye Volcano High, which is a great queer visual novel / rhythm game / interactive movie. Good question. Guilty pleasure games.
I don't have guilty pleasures because I just own it. If I play something or I watch something, I just own it. That's nice. I don't feel guilty.
If I go back, like games I go back to a lot. I mean, that's like Tony Hawk's. Like, I guess I feel guilty when I play these old N64 games that most people would be like, "This is terrible. Why are you playing this?" But there's just a spot in my heart for them that I love. So I guess it would be like Lego Racers and stuff like that. Even though I know these are kind of outdated, but they're my kind of outdated. I don't really have any guilty, but yeah, I don't really feel guilty. I guess I have good friends. No one makes me feel guilty for playing these, and no one should make you feel guilty for playing.
That's right.
Squirrelmancer. You should enjoy yourself. Play your games. Love it. Sounds great. I love that you have a digital alligator boyfriend. I don't know what these games are though. I'm going to look them up after this. This is exciting.
Yeah.
This is fun. So the next one was the from Sketcher9 was very likely already asked, but I just don't remember. Was there ever a really cool technical or a hardware specific game feature you wanted to use or try when you were younger, but never got around to? For example, I never got to do System Link / LAN gaming when I was younger. How hard would your version be to attempt as an adult? Would you try it? How about the reverse? Odd, neat features you did get to use when they were relevant. DS download play Mario Kart on the school bus was a neat memory, and Pokemon trading battles with the link cable for Game Boy and Game Boy Advanced. I always wanted to use the skateboard. You know what I'm talking about?
What
was it? Hold on.
Talking about the Tony Hawk?
Is it the Tony Hawk? The skateboard. Yeah. The skate was it? I thought it was
there was a Tony Hawk ride had a skateboard.
That Tony Hawk ride
skateboard here.
You do? I've always wanted to use it. Can I use it when I come over next time? Can you set it up? Yeah. Oh man, that's like something that was like a guilty thing for me as a kid. Was that? So that skateboard. Also, and I missed the boat. I should have just bought it from the guy. There was a garage sale near my house. This guy was selling DJ Hero, and I should have just bought it. It was in box. It was new, and he was selling it, and I just didn't want to like pull the trigger because at the moment it was like between checks, and I'm like, I've never played
Battalion.
Oh, Steel Battalion. We talked about that before too. I did get to play it though. I played it at PAX Steel Battalion. So that was kind of cool. The full like control scheme, that was a fun one. But I understand now that would be in the second category of not very relevant in 2024. What about you? Do you have any like peripherals you never tried?
I always wanted to try the wireless adapter for the Game Boy Advance that came with Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green. I got my copy of Leaf Green, I think maybe a couple of years after it came out, and it didn't have that bundled with it anymore. I think those were maybe the only games that used it. Obviously, future games, like any game on the DS, was all wireless, like trading and stuff anyway. But I thought it was neat that they had that for the Game Boy Advance. Also, the cell phone hookup for Game Boy Color that was in Japan for like you could get cool Pokemon and Pokemon Crystal with it. I think that was neat. which I think there are some people who like brought that thing back somehow. Like you can emulate it somehow. I don't remember exactly how it works, but I saw some news articles about it recently. So
Nice. I was
Yeah.
at a retro game store yesterday and I saw a Dreamcast keyboard.
ooh, for typing of the dead.
It's pretty cool. But
Yeah.
that's a good question. I love. Yeah. If you have any peripherals you would never wanted to use, or you always wanted to use but you never did, or peripherals that you use and you're like, why does this exist? Let us know.
Yeah. Or the microphone for Hey You Pikachu. I never played that game.
Oh, you know what? I guess the Dreamcast fishing rod. I did see that at the
Ooh,
retro
yeah.
game place. That would be kind of fun to try out and see.
Yeah.
Man, I love it. So we got to keep going though. We got
What
some
about
more.
the reverse? What about the reverse? Odd features you did get to use. I got one. The actually I never got to use this. This is another example of one that I never got to use. The adapter for original Game Boy games that let you link up more than 2 consoles. I had that because it came with my copy of F1 Race, but I never got to use it because I don't think I ever found anybody else who owned F1 Race.
I'm going to say something controversial, something I didn't really like because it kind of shamed me. The Wii Fit board.
Ooh.
The Wii Fit board was kind of rude.
Yeah.
I remember standing on it and it being like, you're overweight and you're off balance. And I'm like, okay, Nintendo. And I got off the board. And I was at a
Threw it out
friend's
the
house.
window.
And I was at a friend's house. I'm like, I would smash this if it wasn't mine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, so, or if it was mine. So I don't know about games I never used that were relevant. I guess all that Wii plastic crap that we all had that would plug
Yeah.
into the Wiimote,
Or like a tennis racket.
yeah, like it was just pointless. That stuff is not relevant. It wasn't even relevant really in the moment.
Yeah.
Not
It
needed.
didn't do anything.
It didn't. It didn't do anything. It made it look like a tennis racket. So everyone knew you were playing tennis. I don't understand that.
Yeah.
That was kind of just a waste of plastic, I would say.
Yeah. Oh, I did get to use the Game Boy adapt, like the thing that plugs into the GameCube. You plug in your Game Boy, so you can play like Four Swords Adventures, or there were some unlocks you got in Metroid Prime if you had a completed version of Metroid Fusion. I think you got the Fusion suit in Metroid Prime or something, and then you could go to the special island in Animal Crossing, and you could also make little like designs on the Game Boy, which was cool, and yeah, the Sonic Adventure games, you could put the Chow Garden on your Game Boy. That was pretty neat.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of good ones out there. Let us know if we're missing some. But do you want to move on to this very presidential question we have?
Yes, I do.
So this is a question that came from Mo. Video game characters are running for U.S. president. Who are you voting for? Which video game character would be most qualified? And Tyler had the first one you have is the one that I agree with the most. So I'm going to steal your answer and join you in this.
Okay.
Do you want to say what it is and why?
Yeah. Luigi. I think he's got something to prove. I think he needs to get out of his brother's shadow, and I think he would have some good policies.
Got a good head on his shoulders too. Yep. I think Luigi understands and knows. Also, he's brave. He fought some ghosts.
Yeah,
you know,
he powered through his terror and fought ghosts.
Luigi 2024 is what we're saying.
Yep.
That's the president I want to vote for. You also have another one that I love on here too. Your next one.
I got Wario because he'll probably just make himself rich. He wouldn't make us rich. He's just money hungry. He'd probably destroy the middle class further. As I was writing it, I was like, you know what? Wario would be a terrible president, but I think it's funny. So
I would argue we've already had multiple Warios as presidents in the United States.
You're probably right. My last one is Big Boss from Metal Gear Solid 3. I'm not sure that's a good idea, but it would be interesting.
Yeah.
Because he did sort of start his own country later on. So
I'm fine with it. So my other two, and I just chose it strictly off of the Captain Falcon is like the military president, the wartime president you would need, I would say. And I'm basing this entirely off of Super Smash Bros. Captain Falcon and Falcon Punch and Falcon Kick and all that stuff. Just that moveset. It feels presidential to me. Mm-hmm. Also, very America. I think it's the bird. You know.
Yeah.
He'd probably have to
name him Captain Eagle.
That's right. He's got to rebrand to Eagles, but other than that, it's fine. The last one I have, who I think would be actually a good president, is Zelda, Princess Zelda.
Yeah. Honestly, that's probably the best answer.
Princess Zelda. Not Link though. Link doesn't talk, but you need Princess Zelda. I would be fine with that. But yeah, so that was my answers for this. So what's this one? What's this here next? This next one here, this Sega.
Somebody asked if Sega were to make a Smash Bros. Style game, what characters would we want in it? So I listed a whole bunch of Sega characters that I love.
Okay.
And I can just blow through them if you want.
Yeah, if you want to just blow through them, I think it's cool.
All the Sonic characters, obviously. Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, Shadow, Dr. Robotnik. Others too, probably as secret characters. There's a lot of characters in that pantheon. Some more obscure characters from Sega properties. Ulala from Space Channel 5. I think Toe Jam and Earl. Maybe there's like an ice climber situation there with those two. Echo the Dolphin. I don't know how that's going to work in a platform fighting game, but it's interesting.
magical.
The Crazy Taxi.
The whole taxi?
The whole taxi. Choo Choo Rocket, that could be fun with little bombs. Maybe there's like a Link, because Link has little bombs in Smash Bros. Maybe there's something like that. Billy Hatcher and his giant egg. Knights, he can like maybe fly around and do cool stuff. I don't know. Amiga and Amigo from Samba de Amigo. Maybe another ice climber situation. Not sure yet. Shenmue would be cool. The main character from Jet Set Radio, whatever that person's name is. And then if Persona characters count, because Sega owns Atlas, then of course all of them. Just throw them all in there. And there are Persona fighting games already. Persona 4 has like 3 fighting games.
You know, this is really good because I actually have, I think I've been playing, I think this would work. Hold on. This is kind of going into what you've been playing a little bit. But so I'm pretty sure this is a Sega made game or a Sega published game. Let me double check. Hold on. Sorry. This is terrible podcast content. I don't know what I'm doing here.
I just got to fill the time. Other Sega characters. Big the Cat.
Nope. And I was
Sonic.
wrong too. That's even worse. Oh my
Oof.
gosh. Okay. So I'm going to say that because there's some obscure Sega games that we've done on this podcast, like after the hardware is over, that I'm missing here. I'm not prepared for this question. I'll probably think of more, but I do agree that Echo the Dolphin would be a banger of a character in a game. It doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to make sense. Just swimming through the air. That's fine.
Maybe as like an assist trophy, like shows up, does some stuff, and then isn't like an actual playable character, but like still helpful in a fight.
I do think that works though. I think what would happen is if a Sega Smash Brothers game came out, it would be all of these Sonic characters as like the regulars that when you start the game, and then you're slowly unlocking like, well, isn't House of the Dead is Sega, so that could be in there too.
Yeah.
So you could have some characters from House of the Dead in there. I was thinking of like other Sega properties that are kind of more lesser known, but House of the Dead, there's a lot of arcade properties through Sega that you could throw in there. So that's kind of cool. I like this idea. I don't think it'll happen, but I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
Wasn't that was it the Epic Universe game, the one that fighting game that got like canceled?
Oh, Multiverses?
Multiverse.
It's back.
That was it.
They didn't cancel it. They ran it for like 6 months in beta, and then they were like, you know what? Not ready yet. We're going dark for a year. And I think it very recently came back into beta. And I don't know how different it is, but I think that's been like the closest competitor to a Smash Bros.
You know, I love that. I think there needs to be more like that. I was actually doing some research on Lego Racers already, and the kart racing genre is entirely Mario Kart. And there's kind of a reason for that we're going to talk about when we talk about Lego Racers, but I wish there was more.
Yeah, the Sega has All Stars like transformed, like that is supposed to be okay. They have a little kart racer series.
Yeah, I just want to see more from it, but that's really good. Anyway, so we did this one already. We just did that one. So let's talk about Matt's. We're going to end on Matt's question because Matt in Japan gave us a blind pick, whereas we haven't looked at this. We just have instructions. And so please blind rank these controllers from 1 to 5, 1 being best, 5 being worst. When you pick a ranking for 1, you can't go back and change it. But I'm guessing we can only do these one at a time.
Yeah, you could do them one at a time, and then you say, where does that belong on the list? And then
so we might end up with some really terrible controllers. And really
I'm sure we will. I'm very excited.
I like this. Okay, so when you pick a ranking for 1, you can't go back and change it. It is locked in. I spoiled each option so you can decide the ranks together. Controller number 1, we're clicking on it.
Okay, right now, clicking on it.
Original Xbox S controller.
S controller.
This is not the Duke. This is, to me, either a 3 or a 4. What do you think?
I would put it at, I'm going to guess it's a 2.
A 2?
That's what I really love the Xbox S controller.
I do too, but that's high. What have we? Oh. To me, this is the standard. Like this is a C tier.
All right.
Do you want to do 3 or 2?
3 then. We'll do 3. You said 3 or 4. I said 2. Let's do 3 then.
What if we keep separate lists and see who ends up on top?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I'm doing I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on my notes here.
I'm keeping track in the doc here too, if you want to.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm putting OG Xbox at 3. You're putting it 2.
Yeah, the S controller, not the Duke.
Not
Duke is
the
a
S.
bad controller.
The S. Yeah, not
That is
the
an
Duke.
F tier controller.
All right.
Do we where did we rank that one in our controller tiers?
I think it was like
It
a
was
D.
pretty low.
It was a
I think it's
D.
pretty low.
I think, yeah. All right. You want to do 2?
Yeah, okay. 2.
GameCube
Keyboard controller.
I don't even know what this looks like. I'm Googling it.
Google it. Yeah, it's for Phantasy Star Online. That's it. And it's just a GameCube controller stretched out as big as a keyboard, has a keyboard in the middle of it.
You have showed me this.
That's going to be a number 3 for me because, I mean, that kind of has everything you want in a controller, to be honest.
It really does have everything you want
GameCube keyboard controller. I'm putting that at 3 for me.
I messed myself up by putting it at 3. You're right. I'm putting it at 4. I'm hoping there's something better. GameCube controller.
Because I think the GameCube controller is one of the best controllers in existence.
But the GameCube keyboard controller?
Yeah, because it's more or less a GameCube controller. It's just big. It just makes your
What if I just pulled up my hands and I was using that right now? How funny would that be? All right, number 3.
The
Steel Battalion controller.
Whoo! I got to put it at 5 because it's only good for one game.
I'm putting it at 2. I'm putting it at 2 for nostalgia. Is that okay?
It's your list.
It's not okay, but I'm doing it.
It's your list. You do whatever you want.
By best to worst, I'm going to just run my PC using my Steel Battalion controller. That's what I'm going to do.
Play Destiny today with Steel Battalion controller.
I don't want to put it at 5 because I like it. Okay. Controller number 4. Guitar Hero 1 controller. This is my number 1. This is my number 1.
Specifically number 1.
I'm putting it at number 1.
I'm going to go with 4. Guitar Hero. Okay, and now whatever is next, that has to be my number 1.
And it has to be my number 5.
Okay.
I'm royally goofing this, but
Here we go.
I'm having fun clicking on it. Nintendo 64 controller. That is a number 5. That is a number 5.
Damn, that is not a number 1. Damn.
I feel good. I feel vindicated. Oh, yes.
That is not a number 1 controller, but it is for me, I guess.
I mean,
I left my number 1 open, and I left it open to fate, and this is what happened.
All right. Do you want to go from best to worst with me here? Let's just review it. Okay. So number 1, I put the Guitar Hero controller.
Okay. Number 1, I put Nintendo 64.
I put number 2 is the Steel Battalion controller.
You're really on the single games, like very specific purpose controller. I put the Xbox S controller as number 2, which I still feel pretty good about, although I would put it above the N64 controller.
Number 3, OG Xbox S.
Yeah, I have my GameCube keyboard controller. I stand by that. I think that's a good spot for that controller.
Number 4 for me is my GameCube controller.
Okay, mine's Guitar Hero.
Good. And number 5 is my N64 controller.
And mine's Steel Battalion, which I stand by.
Honestly,
I'd just switch. I would switch Xbox S to be number 1 on this list, and then I would put Nintendo 64 as number 3, and then GameCube controllers number 2. That's what I would do if I could change the list, but I can't. This is my list now.
This is my list. If I could change it, I would make it all Steel Battalion controller, 1 through 5.
1 through 5, Steel Battalion.
Okay, and now we have another blind pick with snacks. So we're doing the same thing, ranking 1 through 6. We have 6 snacks. This is fun. This is a fun new game that Matt invented because it locks us in. And we're doing separate picks again, right? We're just
Yeah.
Okay.
Snack number 1. You ready?
I'm ready. Snack number 1. Nuts. As in that's a good snack. It also fills you up, which I like. I'm gonna put that though as number 3.
That's where I'm putting it too. Because I think nuts as a snack are great. Like some people are like, no, F tier snack. I love nuts.
I do too. I have pistachios.
Clip that.
One of my favorite snacks. Clip that. We're clipping it. It's a clip show. Tyler and Mike, we love nuts.
We love nuts.
Snack number 2, gummy candies. To me, I love a gummy candy. It is not a snack though. It is a treat for me. It's a dessert.
I'm putting it at 5.
I might put it at 4.
Okay.
I might put it at 4. Gummies, number 4. All right. Number 3, cookies.
Ooh, cookies. That's going to be a number 2 for me.
I think I'm going to put it at 2 also. I love a good cookie.
Biscuits for our United Kingdom friends.
Mm-hmm. Yes, biscuits. Number 2. Number 4, pretzels.
Like soft pretzels or hard?
I think these are hard pretzels, if I'm guessing. I'm going to put hard pretzels because I agree with you. Soft pretzels with cheese is very high up
Number
there.
one. Soft pretzel with cheese, number one. No
Hard
doubt.
pretzel, though, is going to be number 5 for me.
Okay, hard pretzels. But if it's soft pretzels, I'm putting it number one.
Oh, man. The soft pretzels we got at Disneyland, dude, those were solid. All right, number 5.
There's something about the Mickey shape. It just tastes better.
Number 5 is ice cream. I am putting this 6 on the list because it cannot be a snack. It's not allowed. It's not. I'm a 36-year-old man. I'm not allowed to eat ice cream for a snack. I cannot do that for my health. I have to put this at number 6.
It's either best or worst for me. Out of all these.
That's
I'm going to put it at last, and then whatever the curveball snack 6 is, that's my number 1.
That's mine too. Because I'm pretty sure if I put ice cream at number 1, I get a call from my doctor like after we record it. They'll like know that I did that.
Your doctor listens to the podcast,
and they know. Yeah. So number 6, pickles. No, I hate pickles.
I'll put them as number 1. I'll put pickles as number 1. Pickles are such a great snack because they're filling, they're big, they're very low calorie, and they taste great. A lot of salt. But man, I could eat pickles as a. I'm fine with pickles being number 1 on my list. I'm okay with
pickles on a sandwich. I do not like eating pickles just like out of a jar.
I might eat a pickle after we're done recording here.
I feel like Matt just royally messed me up. He just was like, you know what? I'm going to ruin Mike's day. That's what Matt said before he did this.
I love pickles.
Man, Matt, that was a really fun game, though. I really like this game. I think we should keep doing it.
Yeah.
Also, I guess I'll just be a fan of pickles if
you have to.
I have to.
Hey, when you leave your number 1 spot open, that's what you're doing.
I should have put ice cream. I mean, that's not a snack, though, right?
Sure. I mean, a small amount of ice cream is a snack.
Okay. Well, I guess I could live my life that way if I really wanted to. I'd be fine with it. I could do it. Well, that was a really good game, though. I really enjoyed that.
I like that game a lot. That's like right up there with the 20 questions game.
It is. It's really good. And I enjoy these games like this. So, Tyler, what you been playing?
Ooh, what I've been playing? I've been playing Destiny 2 past couple of days. We're getting back on the train, trying to get caught up before the final shape comes out, new expansion. I'm ready to be hurt again. Bring it on, Destiny. I've got it running over to my TV. I got a new TV, playing at 4K, 120 frames per second on my 4090 that I had to buy a new computer case for.
That makes you a real gamer, I've heard.
I'm a real gamer playing at 120 frames per second on my TV at 4K. It runs beautifully. Love it. Having a lot of fun playing that game on a controller. Although when we were playing last night, I was playing mouse and keyboard. When we go serious, a mouse and keyboard it.
Well, we crushed it last night. We
did
destroyed the prophecy dungeon and then did 2 nightfalls and just wrecked it. You and I.
Yeah, we had a great.
Some say we're the greatest of all time.
Maybe we became legend.
We might have. We also were just sitting there eating pickles the whole time, just while we were playing.
Yep.
I have pickle juice all over my keyboard. I have pickle juice all over my Steel Battalion controller.
That you were playing Destiny with.
Yes.
I feel like there's something else I was playing recently as well. I've been still spending a lot of time in the Unreal Editor, making very slow but steady progress on the game that I want to make.
I love that.
Yeah, I'll show you where I'm at after we're done here. It's really not very impressive yet.
Peak though.
It's really not impressive at all. Like, think of like what you think is not impressive, and then like cut your expectations into like a quarter.
Tyler, we have to lie to them so they think it's clickbait. We have to do this the way we're supposed to. It's the best game that's ever been made.
That's true. Already. And it only took me 2 weeks.
He actually, like, Epic Games paid him $4 million already.
Yeah. Didn't make money on the podcast, but I did make money on my game in Unreal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What else have I been playing? I did play a little bit of Fantation on my new iPad, which is
also game you didn't mention that I've heard is really good. Oceanhorn is an Apple kind of game.
That is. Yeah. Oceanhorn is a really good like Zelda clone. The first one is a cool top-down Zelda style game, and then the second one is a more third-person Zelda style game. Great games.
I'm just trying to help out your Apple argument a little bit.
Yeah. There's some good stuff in there. I play a lot of Slay the Spire on my iPad. Also, that's an Apple Arcade. No microtransactions. We love it.
Do you?
I want to play Balatro when that comes out. I know it's coming to mobile eventually, so I'm waiting for it to come to mobile.
That's the poker
place. Yeah.
The poker roguelike.
Yeah, I think that's the perfect place to play like a roguelike card game is on a tablet or a phone.
So do you think, okay, I'm going to ask you a question that's going to open up a whole new can of worms, but that's okay because we're in it to win it today. We're doing a long one. Do you think having an iPad is worth it for gaming?
If the games you want to play are on iPad, yes. I don't think you need to get the Pro iPad. Anything that runs on iPad will run on even the cheapest of iPads. I think the iPad Air is especially a pretty good deal right now in terms of balancing performance with price because the new iPad is very powerful, also pretty expensive. But yeah, they sync up to Xbox, PlayStation controllers. There's a lot of games that work with controllers. It's all about if the games you want are on it, right? Because you can't play your Game Pass games on it. Although you can stream xCloud.
So what do you think about their gaming library right now then? Do you find it like Apple Arcade has a good library?
Well, let's see what's on my little gaming page here on
We're just going full into the Apple this episode.
Yeah,
we're just
on
gonna
this
go for
iPad.
it. You know, they're not paying us any money, by the way, obviously.
No.
But I'm just curious about because I know you've been preaching the Apple gaming as a thing, and I want to know where it's at. You know, I'm curious.
Yeah, well, you got Civilization 6 is on the iPad. I wish they would update it to be higher res and run at 60 frames per second because I think newer iPads can do that, but they don't, which is kind of a bummer. I think Fantasian is a really fun JRPG. Divinity Original Sin 2 is on the iPad, part of why I think Baldur's Gate 3 will eventually come.
Whoa, I did not know that. That's huge. That's also like 100+ hour game that you can play on iPad. That's nuts.
And I think those kinds of turn-based RPGs really lend themselves well to a touchscreen interface. Knights of the Old Republic. I think both of them are on iPad. The first one is for sure. Dead Cells is on there on Apple Arcade. I'm just looking at my page here. You can play Journey on your iPad. You can play almost every Final Fantasy game, except like you can play everything up through 9. And then 15 has the Pocket Edition, which also came out on Switch, which is pretty fun. Slay the Spire, Journey, Final Fantasy Tactics is also on here. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game.
You were talking about Revenge, that, the roguelite one.
Splintered Fate. Yeah. That one's really cool. I think that's if it's maybe it might be just be rumored to be coming to other platforms, but I think it is.
I feel like Hades should be.
It is.
It is. Okay.
If you have a Netflix subscription, actually, I'm gonna download that right now. If you have a Netflix subscription, you can play Hades. All the Grand Theft Auto games, also, if you have a Netflix subscription, are on.
That's an interesting tie-in. Netflix is doing it with the games. That's how have I not known about this?
Yeah, the remakes of the Grand Theft Auto trilogy are all on iOS.
We're gonna have to
if you have a Netflix subscription
at some point.
I think you can actually buy them separately as well.
So there's a lot more games than I thought.
There's a ton of stuff in the arcade, and there's a lot of good old like early days of iPhone games in here. Like Fruit Ninja Classic Plus is great. Everything in the Apple Arcade is cool because there's no microtransactions, so they're trying to make good games.
And that's like $5 a month or something for the Apple Arcade. I think if I didn't have Game Pass, I would jump on this.
Yeah,
I have Game Pass. I would not get it.
Yeah, at this point. I have it as part of the like big Apple One subscription that gets you Apple TV and it gives you fitness and like all their services. So this is just part of it, which I think that is worthwhile. I'm trying to just see what other games are on the Apple Arcade. There's just a lot of stuff in there that's cool. There's a lot of like things that sort of look like they're probably trash games, but there's a lot of good stuff in there too. I think they need to do a good job curating those as well. Like they need to have like a sort of like somehow like a serious gamer page of the arcade to like weed out all of the stuff that I think
like maybe... 4 gamers, and this is the number 4, and it has gamers with a Z at the end of it, so everyone knows
that's
really
and it's got RGB all over it,
and it's got Mountain Dew logos everywhere.
Yep. There's a Doritos sponsorship in there. There's a lot of good stuff. I think I said Journey's there.
We need to play Journey. I bought it so we could play it and we could talk about it one episode, and I forgot.
Oh yeah, you should play it. You can't pick who you play with in that game. That's the point.
You can't. Oh, okay.
No, it's not it's a co-op game. It is, but it's not like play with your friends game.
Okay, so you'll just have to watch me play it. Actually, you'll just have to watch me play it.
Yeah, and we watch in silence. It's just a you experience Journey.
We mute everything. We just play it. Okay. Well, I'm excited to do that. I'm excited. Oh, okay. So I've been playing Destiny with you. Obviously, I'm playing a lot of Hades still. I do some runs every once in a while. I'm loving that. I beat Hades though, so I'm kind of just like doing it for fun. The pressure's off. You
weren't playing for fun before. It was serious. Now it's just for fun.
I mean, I really wanted to beat him. I was like, I feel like it was kind of a gaming test of my skills and how to build. And the interesting thing about it is I am not good at roguelikes or card games. I'm thinking about TFT specifically because managing that much information and trying to build a cohesive thing out of it, I find fascinating. I find that I am not good at it.
Same.
And I am trying to get better at it, which is why Hades, I'm like, this is what I could do because I can play these like action games like this. I know those, but the building part of it is where I'm trying to get better. So I am playing around with those weapon builds a little bit. Other than Destiny though, I did buy on sale. There's a big Warhammer 40K sale on Steam right now.
Ooh.
I bought the first Warhammer Space Marine game. This came out in 2011. It came out on consoles and PC. It is a single player, third person action game shooter in the style of Gears of War. I'm going to say in the style, but there's no cover shooting as far as I know, because it's this weird blend of melee and shooting. Like you have your bolt pistol and you have a sword or a chain sword to upgrade it, and you have do both. And here's the crazy part: you lose health, you get it back by finishing enemies, just like you do in Doom. This came out in 2011.
Oh,
And
cool.
the crazy part about the game, and the reason I got it, is I completely missed it, but also they are making a new one in 2024. They are having in September, the new one comes out, Space Marine 2, and that game is 3-player co-op.
We love a
So
co-op game.
I know you do. And that's why I started playing it, because I was like, well, I got to know the story of Space Marine 1, and it was $11. So I'm like, I'm going to go for it. And I'm enjoying that. I enjoy playing these older games a lot. Like, that's why we do this podcast. But this one's interesting and fun to me. And it's cool because it's very over the top. It's very Warhammer 40K, like for the Emperor and all that kind of stuff, you know? And I love that kind of campiness to it. But it feels like you're playing a war movie in a way. And it's really interesting. I started playing this, I would love to do an episode on it. I don't know if the interest is there. If you're interested in Warhammer 40K games, email us. Otherwise, I'm probably just going to keep it as my own personal thing, because I know that's kind of a very niche subject, Warhammer 40K, but there are a ton of games that have come out for Warhammer and Warhammer 40K, for both Age of Sigmar and that. So yeah, but that's what I've been playing, and I've been digging it. I've been loving it. So there's that. This might be our longest episode ever. Do you know that?
Maybe.
Yeah, we might be getting up there.
I'm down.
I am down too. I'm having
Sometimes
fun.
people say they want longer ones. Well, here you go.
Here you go. Here's a longer one. Go on. Go. It's almost the length of a movie in the 90s. We're close to that. Not now though. Movies now too long.
Yeah.
With that though, that's the episode, I think. Oh, also I got N64 games. I got to show you.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I got Extreme G, which I remember as being a fun racing game from my childhood, and then I was actually at a different store and I got Extreme G2, which is just called XG2. So I have that as well. And then I bought a game that I know this game is considered bad, but it was cheap and I wanted it.
Well, you're trying to collect them all. So
I know. And it's called Fighter's Destiny. And it's not a very good game.
It
but
doesn't even look good on the cover.
It does not look good on the cover. And it's funny though, because Ocean, this publisher, made a lot of games for 64, and I don't know if any of them were really bangers to say. So I know people got mad when we were saying that word. Aren't very good, but you know what? That's a clean word. It's our podcast. We can do whatever we want.
Yeah.
But yeah, so those are the ones I picked up. I have 60 something games now on N64. So
out of
I am
300, I want to say
1/5 of the way there. Is essentially
All
if
right.
I wanted to keep collecting, but I've been telling people I'm not going to buy these games that are like $100. I'm going to wait.
Yeah, you'll find them in the wild with somebody who's selling them cheap.
I found Snowboard Kids 2 in the wild there at the shop, by the way.
Oh,
but it was $120 still, even though it's priced at $70. So I did not purchase it. But yeah, I found it in a store in the wild for the first time. So it does exist, Snowboard Kids 2. But was
it a kind of store you could have maybe haggled at? Could have been like, I'll give you.
I don't think so. They had they had a 20% off sale going on. So it would have knocked it under $100. But I'm still just like, that's still $30 over the price that it's selling for online.
Yeah.
So
you should pull up VG charts and just been like, hey, this is what it's worth online.
I'll
give you that for it.
I should have done that. I had price charting on my phone open, but I didn't know if I could like haggle with the guy.
What are they gonna do? Kick you out?
It's a good point. I was buying games from them anyway, so I should have done it. You know, next time I go up to Bellingham, Washington, I'll do that and I'll haggle. So, all right. With that though, I think that's the episode today. We're done.
All right.
Do you feel sufficiently appled? Do you feel like you've appled and told everyone how the Apple stuff goes?
Yeah, I've gotten my yearly Apple rant out the door. It doesn't change very much, but every so often they come back with this like we're serious about gaming thing, and I'm like, you're almost there. You're like 85% of the way to being able to do this. And that last 15% is just, you got to get good games. And then you got to advertise. You got to push your platform as the solution. Anyway, I can keep going on and on.
I mean, I think your M4 thing about making it like an M4 console is a new, that's a new piece of this that you haven't talked about before to me. So
Yeah,
I'm excited about it.
The
I
Apple
think it could be a
TV,
thing.
the Apple TV has always been in my vision of how this works out. That has always been like the console part of this that they make. And the current Apple TVs are pretty powerful, but they're designed to be like $150 box that plays video like movies and TV shows and does that very well. There are games that you can play on it. You can sync up a controller to it. But I think if they dropped an M4 in there and been like, hey, this thing is extremely powerful, they could get a lot done and sell it for $300 or $400.
Nice. Cool. Well, hey, you know, people got a lot today. So we'll be back next week. Maybe do a discussion episode. Maybe we'll see. I'm coming back from a comedy trip. So we'll who knows what's going to happen.
Right.
But with that, do you want to say bye to everybody, Tyler?
Goodbye, everybody.